Originally released in 1986 for the Sega Master System, Alex Kidd was one of Sega's prominent mascot answers against Nintendo's Italian plumber. Although Alex was later replaced by Sonic the Hedgehog, for a while Alex was Sega's star child, known for being a colorful yet challenging 2D platformer. Now Merge Games and Junkin Team are partnering to remake the classic with completely new visuals while maintaining the same brutal gameplay of the original. But before we jump into this review, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to stay up to date for whenever I put up another video. You can also join my Discord server completely free with the link in the description. With all that said, let's jump into this review starting with story. Our story has us play as Alex, a young kid who studies martial arts on Mount Eternal. On his way back to his hometown, he found a dying man that warned him of a grave evil attacking the city of Redaxian. Now it's up to Alex to venture back home and defeat the evil that the man foretold of. With the power of his martial arts, Alex will have to take out anyone that stands in his way. While not the most interesting story, it's surprisingly fleshed out for something that was originally released back in 1986. New animated cutscenes help present the story as this storybook that looks lovely in this new remake. NPCs throughout every level add new tidbits to the story that just wasn't that common on platformers during this period. In that way, Alex Kidd stands out among other titles in the same genre. While this is a remake, the gameplay is for the most part completely untouched for better and for worse. A lot of Alex Kidd's level design feels innovative for the time, while still being a 2D platformer. Alex Kidd offers a number of different ways to traverse through each of the story's 17 levels, in addition to some new levels too. The levels are designed to offer different paths across obstacles and enemies, helping to elongate the replay value of the campaign. These levels will take you across the grassland valleys, the depths of volcanic mountains, down to the underground caves beneath the sea. There's a lot of variety here. Enemies consistently rotate with new types depending on the environment too. Scattered across every level are stacks of money hidden inside specially marked blocks. Using Alex's signature punch move, he can collect it and use it towards purchasing new power-ups at the local shop. In this sense, Alex mixes in some RPG mechanics, allowing you to carry power-ups into the next level, ready for you to activate, like the ring that lets you shoot projectiles. Other power-ups include an assortment of vehicles that let you quickly traverse the world for a short amount of time. While all these different power-ups may make the gameplay sound easy, make no mistake that this is one challenging platformer. While there's plenty of nostalgia for this series, it's no secret that Alex Kidd is known for being incredibly difficult, and that remains true now. All the platforming, which means the jumping, the running momentum, and so on, is all the same in this remake, and it hasn't aged all that well. Alex's jump and movement just don't feel precise, at least not to the point that it feels safe to make the movements that the game wants you to make. For example, the movement that requires you to jump from one block to another vertically almost feels impossible because of the horizontal movement sensitivity. Judging the distance between platforms often results in failure, including moments where you're just close enough for the enemy to be considered hitting you. The classic one-hit insta-kill continues on with this remake, meaning that any little touch results in you instantly losing a life. Luckily, there have been some minor refinements, and while it doesn't make the game easy, it does make playing through the campaign all the more bearable. While previously if you lost all your lives, you'd be sent back to the end of the entire game. Now it only sends you to the start of that level. You can also activate an infinite lives mode if you simply just want to get through the entire game. Oddly enough, the bosses continue to be the predictable bosses they were before. For those that don't know, at the end of a handful of levels lies a boss fight that's actually a predetermined rock paper scissors fight. Overall, Alex Kidd provides a faithful remake of its original vision, bringing a whole new presentation while respecting the original vision. Sadly, that also means all the jank 80s platforming mechanics too. Post-game content adds a new boss rush mode while also adding a new accessibility option that makes the game much more approachable. This is where this remake truly shines, as just about every visual aspect of the Master System classic has been completely redone. The upgrade is on par with what we recently saw with the Monster Boy series upgrade. While it's not a hand-drawn art style, it makes a more modern pixel approach with some beautiful looking lighting effects. It's not just a visual upgrade, way more context is added to scenes that otherwise would have been lost. Take for example this scene. It's a nice bright day on the Master System, but switching over to modern graphics, there's an ominous thunderstorm looming over the scene. It completely changes the feeling and the context, and I really appreciated that. There's a nice use of layering too, where you have an animated background and actionable layer in the foreground that adds this nice depth of field effect. It should be noted though that it does occasionally backfire, like in this scene where I can't see the enemy throwing projectiles at me. So while the game looks absolutely beautiful, some aspects do feel a bit overlooked. What is pretty neat is that at any point you can switch back to the game's classic Master System style. Similar to Monster Boy, with the press of a button, you can play in either the 1986 look or the new art style. It's marveling to see the difference between the two, especially when the scenes offer more context to the setting. I played my review copy on Nintendo Switch and performance was stable. While in dock mode, I was able to pull a 1080p 60fps picture, while in handheld mode it dropped down to 720p 60 frames per second. Even when the picture is maxing out on the Switch's display, there is this fuzzy look to the visuals because the entire picture emits this glow effect. It's not terrible looking, but it's certainly not as sharp as it could be. Just like the visuals, the music and the sound effects have gotten a complete overhaul and it's fantastic. It can't be overestimated just how amazing the soundtrack sounds, so much so that I wish I could use it at all times. When you switch between the old and the new visual art style, the music swaps too. While it's nice to compare the two, I would have loved to have been able to keep the newer music while playing in the older visual style. That nitpick aside, I love what the team has done with the revamped sound effects. Of course, the Master System had a limited sound system for the original game, so having a refined effect for things like attacks and explosions just sounds so much better and, more importantly, accurate to what they were supposed to be representing. Alex Kidd in the Miracle World DX encapsulates the original vision of the Sega Master System classic while innovating upon it with a beautiful new presentation. Its gameplay is completely intact, which means yes, the original vision is being respected, although it also means you're playing a pretty badly aged platformer from the 80s. Controls are slippery, making for one tough game, but not for the sake of challenge, more for the sake of poor controls. While that may not be an issue for hardcore fans of the series, which I think this is targeting, for those just trying to jump into a piece of video game history, I can see them easily getting frustrated by this, and I think it's completely valid. As a love letter to the series that pays homage to the classic gameplay, I think it more than delivers on that front, though just be aware of what you're getting into if you've never played the series before. Thank you very much for watching my review. Hopefully you found it useful and informative, and if you did, you can let me know with a like and a comment down below. Did you ever play the original Alex Kidd? I think my first time playing it must have been on the Wii Virtual Console. Man, I miss that service. Maybe I'll break out my Wii and check out my collection again. This game really made me feel nostalgic for it. Anyway, thanks so much for watching my video, and until my next review, I'll talk to you in the comments or over on my Discord server. The invite is in the description.